As a business, you don't need all elements. If you're a service-based business, a website would do for you. If you are a product-based business, then probably e-commerce is the way to go. And you don't need an app for everything, unless you want to launch an aggregator app and you have a huge funding or some fantastic idea, then it's a different approach altogether.
If you came out with the latest helmet, if you're a brand out there that's selling cycling gear and a helmet, you stand a better chance of making conversions working with a micro influencer who is a cyclist with 5,000 followers, who has a following of cyclists, than you do giving your helmet to a beauty influencer. Welcome to Digital Dialogues. This is your podcast where we demystify the world of digital marketing. I am one of your hosts, Reem Alhouni. I'm your video content expert, and I'm excited to be joined by my co-host, Namita Ramani. She is your digital marketing expert.
And together, we are going to decode the ever-evolving landscape of digital world and content creation. And today's topic is all about websites, apps, social commerce, e-commerce.
Social selling. Social selling. People have got buying gifts on their brain. So now is the time to be talking about all things sales. So tell me, we know there are a lot of businesses out there. There's obviously B2B, B2C, product, services. If you have something to sell, you're the website guru. Are websites still the way forward to get your product sold?
It really depends. If you are a service-based business and you don't have a product, then you definitely need a website. If you're a product-based business where you have something tangible to sell, of course, an e-commerce would be your go-to option.
But do you still really believe that people are logging onto websites to buy?
Well, as much as I know, most of the sales actually happen on websites which are mobile compatible.
Okay.
All the websites are currently consumed on your phone. So 95% of the consumption or purchasing happens through phone. Actually, no, correction. People decide to buy on phone, but they actually go and buy on the desktop.
Yeah.
That's sorry, I don't have the percentages, but I know that's the process of buying.
Because I know that for me, it's the instant gratification. If there's something I like, is something I see, I click a button, I want to be able to do it instantly on my phone. And the minute it's this long-winded thing of log in and fill out detail, I'm lost. So are there any specific tips that you can give people when it comes to developing their website to ensure that they actually see more sales going through?
I think one of the biggest tips would be the thing that you specialize for, which is the content. If you don't have the right footage, if you don't have the right imagery, videos, and the right copy supporting the product or service you're trying to sell, then how is anybody going to buy? And I've actually, have you ever shopped on phone for clothes or anything for clothes or fashion or makeup?
I'm so the wrong person for this conversation because I don't buy any. I'm not a shopper. I'm not the shopping type of person.
Do you order food
yes.
on the phone? Do you use local apps like Talabat?
Yes, I do.
So it's usually we've noticed that the Uber, Talabat, they are very, very widely used apps for ordering food. But when it comes to ordering for actual purchasing stuff for fashion or makeup or stuff, you want to go to the website, see the product in the zoomed out effect and see properly the clothing material before you click that purchase button and use your credit card to pay the money. And people feel safer with desktop more than mobile is our that's the research says. That's what the research says.
So the reason I'm asking you this question is because once upon a blue moon, I owned another business, which was a product business. It was called Bamboutique, clothing made out of bamboo. I was very passionate about it, and I still am to a degree. It doesn't exist anymore. But I remember we used to do the markets, the Ripe Market, all the popular markets, and we'd get a lot of great feedback, and people would buy on the stall. And the question I always got asked was, is this available online? Can I buy it from your website? And at the time, I was like, oh no, sorry. And I remember going home thinking, people want to buy this online. I need to do something. So I went off and we built a whole e-commerce site and crickets. Crickets. And then you're sitting there every day, pressing a refresh button, and just hoping for the order to come in. Buy. And where are all these people who said they would buy? And eventually, what started to happen is, if I'm honest, the only people who bought anything from our online store were the people who had physically bought the product before. And I think a big part of that is because it was at the time, I know nowadays everyone knows what bamboo fabric is and sustainable clothing is a thing. I'm talking 2011. 2011, it was still a novelty. I don't think, whenever I said bamboo clothing, a lot of people were like, really? really? You can make clothes out of bamboo? I'm like, yes. So because it was so novel, I think the fact that people couldn't feel it, touch it, that was my explanation for why they weren't coming onto the website. Do you think, so my point is, does everyone need a website if they're selling?
Well, if you had told more people about the website, you would have seen more people purchase.
So you think it's my marketing effort?
It was those are the only people who knew about the website. That's why probably they were the only ones buying. If you would have spent some efforts in sending more traffic, maybe paid or actually paid, that would be quicker. You would have seen more sales happening. Yep.
So I think that's probably valid. I don't want to mentally accept it because I feel like I tried everything I could.
Do you still have the website? Maybe we can send traffic and see if it can generate some money.
That's an interesting point. We'll revisit that. But equally, I think that is valid because I think it's, people think if they build it, they will come. And it is that logic of just because it's there, unless people know it's there and you've spent the time marketing it, promoting it, then obviously you're not going to see the traction and the results that we're hoping for. That's on websites. But I have a specific question because websites have now evolved to apps. You've got a lot of companies developing apps. I just think that's so much more work. Like in my head, now you need to convince me to download the app first.
Yeah.
And now use the app and buy. So what are your opinions on whether you should be developing an app to sell your product?
It really, again, depends. Not all businesses or e-commerce sites yet need an app unless you are you've become so popular and you have so much user traffic that those users would be more comfortable in buying it from your app. I would still go the website route, the e-commerce, the Shopify route, or the Squarespace or Wix, whichever e-commerce platform you choose.
So it's funny you say that because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm quite conflicted because I feel like your point earlier, I am a Deliveroo person. So I will go on the app because that feels easy and quick. I'll go on InstaShop because that feels easy and quick. If I feel like if I go on the website, I'm lost in a whole world. So this is like a quick...
Those are different kind of apps. So those are aggregator apps, Airbnb, Deliveroo. These are all apps which have merchants and we are the users buying from the app. So those are different level of apps and they need different level of commitment or investment, I would say. You need the merchants to register on one side and then you need to promote to the users who you want them to use the app. So many times people come to me for guidance to see which kind of route they should go for, they should launch an app or not. And they come with this idea, I have this idea wherein I would have all these merchants and I will send the user and make people download and then I'll sell the user database and I'll make this millions of dollars by selling it. It doesn't really work that way. I mean, it does work that way, but you have to have enough bandwidth, money, time, space to be able to do both because it's a lot of work to first convince the merchants to come on board with you and do what you want them to do and whatever. It has to be a win-win deal, right? And then you get the users to download the app. That's one challenge. And then to use the app. We are already flooded with tons of apps. Everywhere we go shopping, every brand wants us to have their loyalty app. How many apps am I going to have on my phone?
Yeah, they've lost me. The minute someone says, do you have the loyalty? I'm like, is there an app? No, I'm lost. Like I really can't be bothered with the process. I will forego the discount that's on offer just because I can't be bothered with downloading and filling out another piece of information.
It used to be much easier before when they used to just take my phone number and enroll me for loyalty. But now with the app, I'd rather not go for it.
So having said that, I'm aware of a trend that is emerging, especially in the content space. And actually, what triggered it was a couple of years ago, I heard of this app in the UK. It's called Ooh. Have you heard of Ooh?
Yes, you mentioned.
So Ooh, I think it's 5 O's. They came out in 2020 and they were funded super quick. Like in about a month, I don't even know what the number was, but in a month they had all the funding they needed. And the concept behind it is that they're live streaming. I think they've got 25 different channels, which allow individuals, some are influencers, some are personalities, but some are just you or me, who are really passionate about a product to start creating their own video content and sell through the app. So they sell through the app, they earn some kind of affiliate commission from the product, and this is booming. I mean, for those who are our age, they'll remember the time of infomercials and QVC and, it's basically home shopping, but happening on an app and accessible to everybody. And what's really brought this to the forefront is I believe that they have just surpassed Amazon.
Wow.
So in the UK, people are more likely to go on Ooh to buy something
Versus
than they
Amazon.
are on Amazon. So to me, that's just, I mean, what do you think about that?
That is, wow. That's some social selling.
It's crazy. I mean, crazy in a good way. I love the fact that anybody out there can now literally go out and start their own mini side hustle business.
Another level of influencer marketing.
It is, but it's opened it up to the public. But what I found even more interesting is that it's on an app. So we've done away, they don't need the website, no e-commerce. There's actually no physical product. It is an aggregator, but it's an aggregator of people who are happy to promote certain products.
Hopefully it'll come in this market too. It'll be fun.
You know, I've started to see it slowly appear. You may have noticed, like Virgin Megastore, for example. I don't know, I think they do it monthly, but once a month they'll bring in, you know, one of our presenters, Katie Overy, I know presents with them regularly, but I see her on their feed, and she'll be sitting there, and you know, they're in Virgin Megastore, and they'll promote the various products or whatever is in season, and the whole objective is to sell. So it's very much like a QVC type show that's now being hosted on the Virgin Megastore, like social pages. And I think there's something to that, because I think that people like the explanation. They like hearing and having an opportunity, I think, also for Q&A. I think being able to ask your questions, get them answered straight away. So I think maybe we don't have an ooh yet, but I'm starting to see brands get into that social selling space.
I think the human element always helps. That's why the influencer marketing works so well. And influencer marketing with social selling, it's a win-win.
But I think you're seeing a lot of influencers now start their own brands, or even utilize, like, part of it is considered merchandising, but actually utilizing their fame to promote products and actually start their own hustle that way as well.
And so that is actually, we as humans want to be like someone else who's better than us, or we think is better than us. And that's the power of influencer marketing. So it works across the board. There are so many influencers that I follow, and I see them sharing some nice, intelligent piece of content. And when I go down and read the comments, I see people asking, oh, where is this dress from? Oh, where is that from? And the influencer then goes and marks all the stores that they bought the dress from. So people want to have and be what others have. And that's word of mouth in a way. A digital word of mouth, would you say? Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you watched the movie Air?
No, not yet.
So the movie Air is all about how licensing evolved, specifically with Nike, you know, and it was the very first time that, you know, they used a personality, or rather a personality had the opportunity to earn off the sales of a product, because the shoe became the Jordan, the Air Jordans. Yeah. And it's really interesting when you watch that, because you realize that it's happening in all levels. It's the, you know, associating a celebrity, a name to a product definitely helps with sales.
Absolutely.
And at that time, it was all, you know, through big TV campaigns or big brands. But now, even the smallest brand is able to get influencers to support them and, you know, get sales through the door.
In fact, even micro influencers. So people who, just anybody who has a small, simple following of maybe less than 1,000 people as well, when they recommend something that I like, this product I bought from here, you will see the sales coming in for that product. I think influencing happens on all levels. For bigger names, it's not happening on a bigger level. But even if a business cannot afford a very expensive influencer, and if they go to these micro influencers who have a small following of 1,000, 2,000, or up to 10,000 people, which will be happy to promote you by just exchange of product, that's a good marketing effort as well.
But I think people underestimate the power of their audience, no matter how small they are. And again, I know we've discussed the power of niche, but I mean, I know you're a cyclist, for example. So I'm assuming that there are some cycling influencers out there who you follow.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not that big, you know, maybe I don't know, I'm not a cyclist, but let's say they have a following of 5,000 followers, right? If you came out with the latest helmet, if you're a brand out there that's selling cycling gear and a helmet, you stand a better chance of making conversions working with a micro influencer who is a cyclist with 5,000 followers, who has a following of cyclists, than you do giving your helmet to a beauty influencer.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key thing, because I often see that we work with a lot of brands, and I see that they always ask for these large influencers. They want someone with a big following, without realizing that the big following doesn't always get you the customer, the target audience that you're looking for. So the micro influencer definitely has a lot more power than they think they do.
Yeah. And it can apply to smaller businesses then.
Yeah. I think just coming back to the social selling, I've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen it in China. I don't know how quickly it's going to evolve into the region, but I've seen these like massive like social houses. Like what I mean by that is like it's literally, you know, people selling, you've just got cameras lined up, and all these influencers, personalities, or just even average Joe selling product. This seems to be the way forward. Everyone is social selling, and I think people are wanting to buy through apps as well. I mean, through social platforms.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to bring this back to a topic that I know we're passionate about, which is the content creation. Because honestly, no matter whether you're working with a micro influencer, whether you have an app and you're creating these live videos, whether you've got a website, it still comes back to the content.
Because when people click, they'll end up on your shopping page, which will have the photos of your products and the description of your product.
Yeah.
And that's what is going to actually make them press this buy key.
And I also think that's why the video side works as well, because then you're able to show people, they get a real kind of feel for what it is. So I think people need to stop underestimating. You know, I see people build sites and then they don't invest in the video production. They don't invest in the photography. And as a result, that doesn't look as appealing to me to want to actually click that buy button. Do you know what else I've come across recently? Which is like selling concierges. I don't know if you've come across this before.
I actually made a website for a concierge company like that back in the days.
So, I mean, I only came across this a couple of years ago. Mainly, we work with a company called GetB, and I know there may be others, but I know they're quite big in this space. But the idea behind this is that they would work with a number of different brands, and you'd have a concierge. So you'd log in, and you'd have a sales assistant on the other side who would understand your requirements, understand your brief, go off and find the various products. I kind of like that option, because I don't like shopping. I'm unlikely to buy something so I'm a lost cause. I don't physically want to go to the shop. I don't want to go. But I also am unlikely to buy something online if I haven't tried it. So now what do? What do people like me do, right? And then I thought maybe this concierge approach is something for retail outlets to explore, because you end up interacting with someone, you have that personal touch, and they're catering and finding solutions for you.
That was the example you shared with me about Wear That. Would you like to share that?
You're right, actually.
That is a very interesting concept, actually.
Yeah, you're very right. I am a big fan.
Industry.
I'm a big fan of Wear That. This is a Wear That. This is a Wear That outfit.
And this is not at all a paid promotion.
Not paid, but I genuinely love their service, because I hate shopping. I will not enter a store. But then you get to a point where it's like, well, something needs to happen here, because like my wardrobe needs to change, right? And I came across Wear That, and I reached out, and their process is very much, you fill a form, you tell them what you like, and then they just send you a box. So like a box arrives at your door. But
their process is very interesting. Have you gone through their ad process, or did you actually go through the website?
So I because I had heard about, I had seen their ads. I'd seen them everywhere.
And they're very creative in their ads as well.
Exactly.
Very fun and entertaining.
Yeah, so the videos caught my attention, and I just kept seeing it. So when a friend said to me, you need to try Wear That, I felt like, you know what, they were top of mind. Mm-hmm. I'd seen them enough times that I'm like, I'll give it a go. You know, what's the worst that can happen? And I remember thinking, I really need a change of clothes. Like I'd got to that point where like things need to change. Filled out the form, gave them a few references, a box arrived at my door. That was quite exciting, the fact that a box arrived without me doing anything. I'm going to be very honest, that first box, nothing fit. Nothing fit. And I was like, this system doesn't work, you know? But I thought, no, my problem hasn't been solved. So I need to get to the bottom of this. So I actually gave them feedback. I gave them feedback on each item in the box, right? I'm like, this is too short. This doesn't fit here. This is what, I gave them detailed feedback. And I said, look, I still have the same challenge. I need to replace my wardrobe. And a couple of days later, I got a new box. Everything in the box fit. which was amazing, but also highly problematic because now I'm sitting there going, I like this, I like that, what do I do? But to me, this is fascinating because they obviously, it's down to the feedback you give. They learned from that feedback. They sent me the box. They now have my profile online, and I now have a personal shopper. You know, so every few months, if I feel like I need new items, it's an interaction that happens online. I do not need to leave my house. It's a WhatsApp message. It's a business WhatsApp group where I go, I've got a bunch of speaking engagements. I need new outfits. My stylist replies saying, you'll have a box in a couple of days. I get a video that talks me through the items in the box. I'm clearly a fan. You know, they have converted me, and yeah, I think it's genius. So I think maybe there's something to that. The more personalized the service gets, the higher chances of conversion.
Customer service is one of the important elements for a successful business. And every customer costs money.
Yeah.
The amount of effort that has gone into doing the photography, putting the website together, spending money for traffic. So we should value every lead that comes in from our websites and apps.
But I think that's the other thing. It's like learning, right? If someone has purchased a couple of items from you before, you know, and you know the style that they like, it's then being able to utilize that data in a new way.
That's another level of personalization.
Absolutely. And then it's like retargeting them. And, oh, you bought this before, you may want to buy this. And it's like now you're in their system. You're now in a system where I can see how purchasing online enables you, or, you know, promoting sales online enables you to retarget that audience and hopefully cross-sell and also understanding seasons. So obviously, you know, if you've bought at particular times of the year, being able to come back around the following year and target those specific time periods as well.
Absolutely. And there is a new trend coming in e-commerce about augmented and virtual reality, where you can actually see there are apps, AI-driven apps, which will actually make you experience the product. If you're buying sunglasses or you're buying a piece of clothing, it will take your photo and you will see yourself wearing that piece.
Have you tried them before?
Not yet, but I know this technology exists, and a lot of shops, online stores in the West are using this, but it's not yet come here.
You know, I still don't think that would work for me. Like, I think I'm just as advanced as I am and logical I am in my thinking, I still think I need to try it on. Same. I still think that's not going to work for me, just seeing it.
Unlike you, shopping is fun for me. That's my me time. I love going to shop. I actually have a weekly day designated that I'm doing my shopping and spending some time with myself. I don't even want to tell
you what I'm thinking right now. But anyway, it's been an enlightening conversation. What are the key takeaways we want to give people when it comes to shopping, selling online? What do they need to consider? If you had to sum it up for them, what would that be for you?
Well, not you as a business, you don't need all elements. If you're a service-based business, a website would do for you. If you are a product-based business, then probably e-commerce is the way to go. And you don't need an app for everything, unless you want to launch an aggregator app and you have a huge funding or some fantastic idea, then it's a different approach altogether. And social selling, always.
I think for me, regardless of which route you go, it still comes back down to the content creation. So the content creation and the marketing, because you can build it, they may not come. You need that marketing push to make sure they show up, and make sure that when they get there, you've actually professionally produced the content that they're seeing, because that's actually what's going to drive sales and lead to the conversion.
Can I ask you one question before we sign off? Does content have to be always professional? How about raw native content?
So you know what? I think you can have raw native content on your social media channels. I think people will relate to you more. But I think when you get on the website, I actually think it has to be professional. I think I want to see a professional, like a proper photo of the shoe I'm about to buy, the back, the front, the side, I want to see it in detail. I don't think that's going to work on your phone or done in an unprofessional way without the right lighting.
Having said that, native content works very well with ads and marketing, digital marketing. We see that people respond or interact more or engage more with native content. So you need a mix of all.
But again, you just said it for the ads, right? Mm-hmm. So I think for the ads and the social, I agree with you.
Yes.
But I think once you get onto the site,
it has to be professional.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Well, that brings us to the end of another Digital Dialogues episode. We are super excited that you joined us. Make sure to subscribe so that you can continue tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you soon.